For anyone listening, just getting things set up. Should be ready in a second. Okay, welcome to the winners semifinal of a Canadian Canadian team qualifiers for the World Cup that is going on with Discord League, and Mind's Desire is setting up. We have Dragon versus Dragon matchup. Litorers who haven't knocked me out or knocked me down to the losers bracket, and Alfred or Naneki also on Dragon. I think this is an Eastern Canada versus Western Canada matchup, so like Shen Lung versus a Smog perhaps for Dragons. And we have Naneki making the big brain play and winning the coin flip and getting the favor, not the favor, the extra fate going second. Good luck's passed back and forth, and I took a quick look at the deck list before we can pop into them while they're doing their mulligans and stuff. So this is Naneki's. His is actually the more non-standard, although they're both pretty close to the standard. He has 2 assassinations, which you don't often see in Dragon anymore. He's got the Indomitable Will, which went in and out of fashion depending on the monk package, but he has 2 Spreading the Darknesses over the Hiroma skirmishes, and the occasional mountain does not fall. He also has Atomo Couriers, which is kind of an old school sort of dragon build thing to have. And on Latour's side, he's got the 1 assassination. They're both still running the censures. This is second pack was legal, so the monk package wasn't really there for this tournament. Okay, let's pop back. So we see Latour's. I'm going to really have to get better at pronouncing that. Put out the Doom Shigenja, which is answered by Naneki's also Doom Shigenja. So in terms of this matchup, I would say the Pathfinder's Blade is obviously of extreme importance for making your attacks, but correlated with that is the use of let goes is extremely important point of the game for these guys. You have to really choose your let goes well, like, because you got some high priority targets like the Pathfinder's Blade itself to make your provinces have some bite. You have the deadliest province lineup in the game, plus you have Cloud in the Mines you have to deal with going down in your characters, and the reprieves. So all of those are high priority targets, and that's too many for your let goes. So you got to really choose. There's a couple neat Maya Mystics in the decks, but not that many. So we see Naneki buy out 3 characters, which is a pretty wide start, I would say, for Dragon nowadays. I think they're both looking to be somewhat aggressive, or at least defend any conflicts that are coming in. So we initiate with 1 fate, which is pretty standard because, if you're going to pay a fate to honor him, you want to keep him around for next year. We have a Swordsmith with only 1. You also see it with 2-3 because it's such a good character. But they both have Assassinate in their deck, so unless you can find a Reprieve or Finger of Jade, you are kind of risking it. Although there's a Tagashi Initiate on Lito's side without the Fate, so I don't know if he's going to pay to honor it or not. We'll see. We see a Reprieve going down on the Doom Shigenja because he knows his opponent has 2 Assassinates. That's on Lito's side. Let me expand this guy so we can get more space. If for some reason my volume's off or anything like that, hopefully people are watching. If not, I'm sure people will enjoy it on VOD. Let me know. Okay, so Swordsmith takes a Reprieve, which I'm sure is probably going to go on the Swordsmith itself. We'll see. Maybe Doom Shigenja as well. We see a Pathfinder's Blade drop down on the Doom Shigenja, which definitely means he's going to push for a break as hard as he can. You don't want to waste that. Well, I guess he could next round too because of the Reprieve, but let goes there's the thing. Oh, there's a let go on the Pathfinder's Blade, yeah, which I think is the number 1 kind of target, especially early for your let goes. So we'll see if he has another one. I mean, well, he drops the skirmisher, which means he's definitely looking to attack. I would guess he's going to covert around the Doom Shigenjo, because that's the only sort of military threat on board. And he's just going to go for, well, he went down to 6 cards for Restoration, and he's got no characters with Fate. So actually this is a alternate way if you can't make your Pathfinder's Blade stick, is you just kind of neuter the provinces a little bit. Only having to give up 2 cards, or in case of Feast or Famine, you're just completely safe. So he's going in. He's coverted. He's going in with Strength 4, and he's coverted the Strength 3 character for Naneki. So this is a really solid attack. I mean, he's going to have to put in at least 1 character and stick a bunch of attachments on it to defend this. Now, at the same time, attacking first as the opponent of dragons can sometimes be, when you're going into, because you're giving them a chance to defend and use cards. But there's no defense on that attack, and he instead just lets it break, knowing that it's unlikely he would have been able to stop that, even with the 2 characters being 2 forced down. So we'll see if he has a Pathfinder's Blade or some cards to pre-play so that he can reduce some of the provinces. Although he has risk of Feast or Famine. Not a huge impact, but certainly would give a pretty big swing early. So let's see if he being Naneki, sorry. Dragon on the top, let's go. Maybe that'd be the easiest thing. I got used to saying the names. So the Swordsmith is going to make an attack on Political Water. So if that was Feast or Famine, there would be some risk. Hits Shameful Display, unfortunately. So the Tagashi Initiate is waiting with its 2 glory for that, which is going to knock this conflict down to 3-1 to start. Neki has a 2-card advantage, but being 2 strength down on this attack, I don't know if he can get high enough to break it. And if he can't break it, I suppose Earthring's valuable enough right now when you're ahead on cards. So Naneki uses Court Games to get his Swordsmith back. Oh no, it makes more sense to unhonor the Tagashi Initiate, and come back to winning the conflict on the attacker wins ties. Let's see if there's a counter Court Games. Ancient Master goes down out of the conflict. He wants favor. These are Sumiko-less, after all, and censures. Each of them is on 2 censures. So he doesn't want to lose that card. Drops it down out of the conflict. We'll see if Naneki has that assassination. He probably would have used it already. Oh, maybe not. We see a Jade Masterpiece, very good economy card for denying, both getting economy and denying economy from your. So, yeah, Naneki jokes that the math, because I think he put it down there to use his box that he thought he would break, but that would only place him at 3 strength versus 1. He would need another attachment on the Swordsmith, which I don't know if he wants to. Certainly has reprieves in his deck, but I don't know if he wants to put that many attachments in the character with only 1 fate. I don't think you can tower up a 2 cost when you're risking assassinate, and one that doesn't have enough fate to really stick around that long. So he wins the ring. Loses a reprieve, which is pretty big for Litorers loses the reprieve, which is pretty big. Oh, so not going to use the Ancient Master to get favor. Well, I mean, indirectly he is, because if he wins this ring, but he hits Shameful Display, which is going to go back the other way, and even more so. So we'll have a 3 versus 1 political battle on the Void, which means really this is a battle over favor, which with 2 censures in each deck, that's pretty big. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, the scouting information is valuable, but I'm not entirely sure this fight was worth it, being down cards, and you would have been equal strength. So Shameful doesn't break. Defender claims the ring, which means Naneki is going to have favor for next turn, unless another Ancient Master comes down. Of course, Litorers is up 1 break, which is pretty valuable, and knows where 2 provinces are. Like I said, they're not on the Sacred Sanctuary. Oh, okay. Second attack is going to go through another conflict character. So we see the third conflict character dropping between these two players in the first turn. That's pretty big stuff coming out of town. It's like, it's not drop bears, it's like drop squirrels. All these small conflict characters, but still a lot of them. So Tattooed Wanderer is likely just going to go back into Shameful Display, I would imagine. Ring-wise, it's nothing that valuable. I mean, he can honor his Swordsmith again for like a 1 point of strength thing. That would, and he can take Air Ring, which is not particularly valuable at this point, but you know, they're both because they both want to be drawing 5 for quite a while. So I don't think Dishonor is in the cards. So it's Shameful Display. It's going to be Fire, which I can see. I mean, he can get his Swordsmith to be in a position to threaten provinces a lot more effectively. Drops a Ancestral Daisho, which is obviously a good choice for a character with no fate, onto Shameful Display. So unless there's an assassination here, or a conflict character and contributing another card for military strength, then it's going to break. So we have a Feast or Famine break on one side and a Shameful Display break on the other side. So going into the next round, this is looking pretty even, I would say. Maybe a little bit benefit for Naneki, since his Swordsmith is with a J Masterpiece pretty strong, and litorers has only got a Doom Shigenja and Dishonored Ancient Master, which is not good for much other than it's good at getting favor. But Naneki has favor. He has a 2-card advantage. He has an Honored Takeshi Initiate, which is a 3/3, and he has a 1/3 Swordsmith with the ability. But litorers does have 2 extra fate, which can be quite significant when you want to load up a character in this round to be the tower. So litorers flips. He's got Yukuni, he's got Neaten Master, and Maya Mystic. So it's a pretty good flip for him, as well as the card draw, additional card draw. On the other side, we got another Swordsmith, a political operative, Katsuki Investigator, and I'm thinking of Netrunner there, and a Tomo Courier. So he buys the Investigator with 2 fate. Not as strong as it is in some matchups like Crane and Scorpion, but still pretty strong here. You can get rid of some pretty key attachments like Pathfinder Blades and stuff. Life goes. So is litorers going to go with the Neaten Master, or is he going to go with the Yukuni? He could go Neaten Master, some Fate, and the Maya Mystic. I would probably just go Neaten Master because you have a chance to get the passing Fate. Probably not. I would think Naneki's not going to buy the Atomo Courier. He might. Oh, he goes Yukuni with 3. Right now, I think either you're copying the Investigator, and Naneki gets the passing fate, or Alfred. Sorry if it's confusing. So Alfred is Naneki. So Yukuni can copy the Investigator, which is not bad, but he's not particularly rich right now, so that would cut in. Or he could just copy the Swordsmith for some draw right now. We have a favorable ground on Naneki's side, so he can sort of bait a defense and leave. But he's going into unknown provinces, and doesn't have any Pathfinder Blade out. He's got a Swordsmith, and he's got up to probably 5 cards drawn, so pretty good chance of finding one, but we'll see. And I believe he's already used one, so he has 2 left. Nope, it was the other way around. Sorry, litorers sometimes has used the Pathfinder's Blade, so he still has 3 in his deck. And he will have, by the end of this, probably drawn 18 of his cards. So I'm sure he has them by now. So Naneki actually bids 4 to 5, which is interesting. I mean, he maybe has an assassination in hand. He wants to give a little honor padding. Maybe he has 2 assassinations and he wants some honor padding there. But I don't know if the 1 honor was worth evening up the card advantage here, because the storehouse plus the 1 extra card. He has a Shigenja. They both have Shigenja, so we'll see if the Cloud the Mind comes down on Yukuni, which it does. Cloud the Mind comes down in the conflict phase. He's first player, so that was okay. Usually you see that in the draw phase, so that the Yukuni player can not copy an ability, because the ability would run out at the end of the draw phase. But it's first player, that's okay. So Yukuni, we'll see if that gets let go at some surprise moment. So yeah, I think the volume's good and everything. Or if there's any questions you have or comments you want to make, please do in the comments. I don't know if there's any viewers, but certainly speak up if you can. It's always fun to hear what people have to say about the matchup or what's going on or sort of anything general. Again, this is the Pack 2 was the sort of cutoff when the tournament began. So Swordsmith goes and fetches Kazuki Method, which is a good card. I mean, right now, that's because Neneki has no fans in his deck, so that's his sort of political buff option along with court games. So Pathfinder's Blade comes down on the Togashi Initiate. I mean, I guess so. He wants to attack with it 3/3. It's his strongest military character, so I'm thinking he's going military. Except it's an assassinatable character. I mean, litorers only has one assassinate, and he may just want to use it on the swordsmith instead. But certainly getting rid of that Pathfinder's Blade, although it'll already be used if Restoration is found, which is the main worry right now, I would think. Although Feast or Famine can be really nasty with a 2-fate Katsuki Investigator. Jade Masterpiece moves the fate off the air ring to the fire ring. Yeah, I mean, taking Yukuni down to a 2/2 is pretty strong. So that's a high value ring right now. The favorable ground's there, so at worst he's going to get probably a pretty good defender to try to stop this, and he can always just leave if it looks like he's going to lose. Okay, so he's playing the roulette, but the Pathfinder's Blade was not let go, so he's really looking for restoration, which he finds. So that was a good hit, good province hit for Alfred there, or Neneki. So Pathfinder's Blade cancels the what would be 5-card loss there. So Yukuni's kind of forced to defend, otherwise he becomes kind of a 2/2 semi-potato there, which means this will be a difficult conflict, I think, for Alfred to win. But at the same time, his 1-cost character's tied up a 5-cost Yukuni, so I'm sure he's okay with that. Oh no, Alfred plays one of his 2 Spreading the Darknesses, which means now he can't be assassinated, and he goes up to 7. So that definitely demands an answer from Yukuni. Yukuni goes to 7 himself with the attachment, 9 with the box. But he's forcing cards out of hand. But there are attachments on Yukuni, which are going to be around for maybe 4 rounds. So I don't know if that's really getting him to use that many cards. So Alfred's really going for it. He pops in a Bonsai as well, taking this Initiate up to 11. 11 attack. That is a fighting mad Initiate, I can tell you that. Thanks, Eric, for letting me know. So he's really going for the break here. It's really about the ring. I mean, I can't imagine that litorers really cares that restoration balance is going to break here, because he kind of wants him to move off of that farmable province. So let's see. I mean, box would prevent it from breaking, but it seems like a waste of the box at this point to do that. Especially with 7 cards. Okay. So Alfred plays Censure on canceling Bonsai. So one of those 2 Censures comes out, proving that the favor was pretty valuable last turn, and Ancient Master might have been better to stay at home. Let's see. So Restoration's back to breaking. I mean, even the Bonsai would have a Bonsai plus box would have taken Yukuni up to winning the conflict. So Yeah, a 3 fate dishonored Yakuni isn't that much fun. Clouded too as well. So you got your 8 fate investment. It's been turned into a 2/2. I guess a 4/2 with the sword. I'm sure you can court games at some point in the future, but well, and he's one heck of a stander for the favor as well. Okay, so restoration breaks. It's the second break on turn 2 for Hananeki. And he managed to tie up again a pretty big defender with his 1-cost character. So muting the attack of litorers fairly substantially, because now he has to worry about 7 political with the favor coming back. And I don't know if he wants to give up that third break at this point. The second skirmisher comes down for litorers. Yeah, I mean, coverting, I guess, the swordsmith, because you really don't want the political operative to defend military. Second Pathfinder's Blade for litorers. He's going to go scouting around. Maybe he's got 50-50 on his own restoration, finding his own restoration of balance. We'll see if there's a let go and answer. The Neki has used 1 let go, so odds are not great that he has it in hand. Okay, we see a fairly substantial attack, 5 mil, leaving only the dishonored ancient master for defense. Looks like he's just going to try to race and trade break for break here. I mean, he is first player next turn, but with I don't even know if he has the better board next turn. Okay, finds manicured, which is good in its own way. I mean, now he knows what restoration is, and Feast or Famine's already broken, so he can either just reduce his cards and go at restoration, or just stick with manicured and shameful. Not the most palatable option, stick with shameful, but that's Dragon Province rule for you. So the Pathfinder's Blade used to cancel the manicured garden's ability. I can see it. I mean, you're basically a 0-cost card to keep 1 fate off your opponent. It's pretty strong. Sorry, I gotta go check something. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry, everybody, for that. My daughter built a giant book tower in her room, and it falling over was similarly sounding to a 6-year-old girl falling off her bunk bed. So had to go run up and check that, make sure everything was okay. Everything's fine. Just a messy book tower now. Anyway, let's see, what do we miss? That fairly substantial attack broke Manicure Garden, so 2 breaks, 2 breaks, and it was the Water Ring, so we get Yakuni. Ooh. So, he has favorable ground. Okay. So it was wise to, kept. So favorable ground. No Hawk Tattoo, which probably makes some people pretty happy because Gamble Pack 2. So that favorable ground is really saves him from this what could happen with Feast or Famine here, which is substantial. I mean, he could lose his whole board. And the Doom Shigenja sticking around for 3 rounds would be no fun. So I can imagine he's going to use the Investigator's ability and then just skedaddle from there. So if there's a court game, Assassination comes down on the Swordsmith. I guess he was worried about the reprieve. I'm pretty sure the Swordsmith had no fate and there's no conflicts left. I guess he didn't defend at all, so now the political rival is the only defender. The Katsuki Investigator is the only defender. So, and he opts not to use the Katsuki Investigator's ability because he'd just be, potentially giving a fate to his opponent, although Could put it on the air ring, but that would make a 2 fate air ring for next turn, and his opponent is the first player. So yeah, I could see fate's relatively tight for both players, so you don't want to be giving away fate that you don't have to. Um, okay, so we have the Dishonored crews going to become rolling in um, here. He's down to 4 cards, so he might as well go Restoration. I mean, he gives a Secret Fate, but at least he doesn't end up with an Honored Kitsuki Investigator. I think it's probably worth the Secret Fate to do that. And, given a court game, something like that, he could be threatening second break here. Third break, I mean, and becoming first player. So the Dragon full court press is on both sides, really. Let's see, he's thinking about his attack. I mean, Void's not immediately impactful, but it is something. Your first player next turn, you might want to take it with a fade on it. So he's going to stand for favor, stand the monk, which makes sense. And he's going air. I mean, he's down to 5, but I don't know how quick this game is going. That's something you have to really worry about now. Because he's already played as Assassinate, and he only has 1. And he's no Spreading the Darkness. So he's really no favor sinks afterwards. So he does opt for Restoration. Kitsuki Investigator blocks, and he's currently winning thanks to Yukuni's stats and the favor. Down comes the Kazuki methods, which litorers knew he had because he pulled it with the Swordsmith. So a court games plus blocks, still not going to win this. So he needs a fan or something of his own to try to win this, and it's certainly looking pretty difficult to break at this point. So he might opt to just not commit any additional, and they'll both go into the next round 2 breaks apiece, with sort of a farmable Restoration as a third break province. And on Neki's side, he has the Manicure Garden, the Feast or Famine. So Manicure is not terrible, but it's certainly a little more painful to attack into than a Restoration that's already been used or already been revealed. Okay, so the favor switches hands thanks to the Ancient Master, who wasn't going to contribute much anyway, and the boards disappear fairly substantially here. We'll go down to just a 2-fate Yukuni, who's clouded, versus a clouded Kitsuki Investigator. One's got a Katana Yukuni, and the other one has a Kitsuki method. So pretty even there. Slight edge to litorers, but Afrede does have a 3-fate advantage, and as well as a card advantage by 1 and an honor advantage, but I don't think the honor is end of the world right now. Oh, Sumiko shows up with favor. But he only is Sumiko on both sides. So that Ancient Master really did his job there. Let me get the mouse out of there. And so, but 7 fate is not a ton. I guess this game's not going to go that much longer. So Sumiko 2 fate is pretty strong. Even if she gets voided, she'll be around for 2 conflicts and potentially, 2 rounds, 4 conflicts, 5 conflicts. So yeah, Sumiko 2 fate. He's definitely going to get the passing fate. I mean, Afrede cannot afford to not buy anyone. His choices, he needs some military skill here. I mean, certainly he can stop the political, or he has a good chance to stop the political, but on the other side, there's 8 military skill on board versus 2 for currently for Afrede. And he buys his own Sumiko with 1 fate. So yeah, I think he's feeling threatened by this favor back Sumiko. And he also has both his censures online, I guess. So any events in Alfrede's deck, which isn't a ton at this point, are going to be a threat of being censured. So the other Spreading the Darkness, the court games, the Indomitable Will, all that. It's going to be risk of not going through, having almost half the deck drawn for both players, or more so for litorers. So I'm a little surprised that, at this point, there hasn't been any let goes played by litor. So he's got to be sitting on 1 by now, you think, unless it's pretty bad luck for his Yukuni. And his Yukuni can copy. There's no obviously great targets like Ratsugu or Neat and Master, but you know, Swordsmith, get him another card, it's not bad, or Investigator will pluck out a pretty strong card. Oh, and they both, litorers bid 3, and Afrede bid 1, so he's down to 2 honor here, which is pretty substantial. Factor, actually. I'm a little surprised that Alfred switched it up, although he did have a card advantage and he still maintains it with that Swordsmith. Swordsmith pulls a fine Katana. You don't see Dragon versus the Dragon match end on Dishonor very often, but that's a real risk here. Given that Sumiko is going to keep standing the whole time, I would imagine that getting it undefended is going to be difficult. Well, with the favorable ground, it's going to be super difficult. But still, you know, air will suck away 1. Oh, Cloud the Mind comes down on Sumiko as well. So 2 targets for the let go, 2 pretty strong targets. He's going to Restoration of Balance on the political, guarded only by the Swordsmith. I guess Alfred wants to have a really strong backswing on both of his attacks, military and political. But it's going to be difficult to defend this with just the Swordsmith. I mean, I don't know how many attachments you want to put on the Swordsmith. But Assassination is off the table. Both players on 0 fate. And contesting the air rings, forced to... Yeah, I think he's forced to contest a ring without fate. Yeah, definitely. He's still at 0, which is an unfortunate side effect of how low he is on honor. So he does win the conflict and the break and goes out of danger territory on honor. That's very unlikely to happen at this point. But the cloud sticks, so Sumiko gets bowed, which means with no fate, I mean, Yukuni, yeah, with no fate, there's just no way that you're not going to have it. Oh, you have favorable ground, right? There's going to be no undefendeds at this point. Of course, and there's a military, so of course, Alfred has to be thinking about the stronghold attack. He can switch to political, which means a 2 political strength Yukuni 4 with box. He's going to have a tough time breaking. You know, court games would do it, but there could be counter court games. You're going to have a tough time breaking the stronghold. So, you know, let's see if Katsuki Investigator comes in. No, sorry, Sumiko. Yeah, I mean, he could attack with Sumiko and the Investigator. And there's there's a chance of a cloud, and no clouds have been played by... Oh, there's been 1 cloud. So 2 more clouds in Litorers' deck for that Sumiko. So he opts not to attack with Sumiko. Oh, right, Sumiko, sorry. Alfred's Sumiko. A lot of Sumikos on the field. Does not have the favor, so she's going to bow anyway. Okay, yeah, so you just keep her for defense. Investigator goes in on Feast or Famine. No chance of a conflict character. So yeah, both these players have done a really good job of not being damaged. I mean, yeah, Dragon's got a big advantage by having Pathfinders played, but not taking any damage from the opponent's provinces, or very little. I mean, Shameful's display obviously always kind of hits you, or often hits you, but still. Now, Feast or Famine's going to break, and without Pathfinder's played, it's not going to do anything. Let's see, so it's favorable ground and just avoid losing the honor. And do we see it? Okay, it's got the 1 of Indomitable Will, so no, doesn't come out. It could have been censored anyway, but he had the fate. So, I don't know if Yukuni... Well, I mean, Sumiko kind of has to defend, because court games, without a counter court games or a fan, breaks your stronghold. So, oh, no, it's military. So Bonsai, even more chance of breaking the stronghold than if Sumiko doesn't defend. And it could be a conflict character. I mean, I guess like a Spreading the Darkness, of which he has another one on a Tagashi, on a Tattoo Wanderer. Could probably shut down any military attack. Or a Bonsai, so who knows? I mean, the Shikuni, I don't think Litorers, I'd have to double check, has Indomitable Will, so, and he has 1 fate, so that means he could defend with his own Tattooed Wanderer. So it's a risky attack, I think. There are scenarios where you wouldn't break and Sumiko could come in and break your stronghold. So we got I mean, we'll probably see some, yeah, Fine Katana go down, and then that'll take, with box, Sumiko up to 10. So it's going to be tough, with 6 cards in hand, it's going to be somewhat tough to win this. I mean, a Bonsai really kind of take you up over the top there, but that would be the main thing. More swords, I suppose, on Yukuni. And we're fighting over the Earth Ring, which is pretty substantial at this point, with 4 cards for Afrede and 6 cards for litorers. Now, and Afrede already took the Void Ring, which was wise on his attack. Oh no, sorry. And he voided off right on his first attack because all those characters are pretty vulnerable to the Void Ring and disappearing for next round, which will be pretty crucial, it seems. So Rally's already been popped, although for Dragon it doesn't really matter, but it's a bit of an advantage. So the Taurus is thinking about whether he wants to throw another card in here. It's always tempting, right? Because it's the Earth Ring. It means a 2-card sort of swing for you. But you could put in a lot of cards and you don't win the Earth Ring. It's pretty bad. But this is also a fight over favor, another fight over favor, because whoever wins this ring is going to get favor and turn on their Sumiko. This is actually pretty big. Afrede does win it, so it looks like, barring an Ancient Master drop, which he does have 3, I believe, this is going to be a favor swinging back to the other Sumiko and Stronghold. Yep, that's what we see. So favor goes back to Afrede, which is huge. So yeah, the Sumiko buy was, some might have not done that, but I guess he had confidence that he could kidnap the favors. So situation is swung now, and Sumiko can take 2 shots at this, unless she gets clouded. 2 shots at this, and there's no let go, but it's got to be let goes in hands by now. I mean, we've seen 1 used between 2 Dragon players, which is pretty incredible at this point. Yeah, Sumiko can take 2 shots at this stronghold here. So Kudaka's bot really buffering up both military and political. Yukuni gets duped, which is good, but not. Oh, and a Sumiko dupe as well. I mean, earlier in the game, when this certainly would have been really good to get that many dupes, but I guess you can spend a lot of money on your Neaton Master, and your opponent's already used 2 clouds, so you know you've used a bunch of swords, but probably still have 1 for this Neaton Master. So I would suspect the Neaton Master gets bought with, say, 2 fate, 1 fate maybe. But yeah, the Sumiko, because Neat Master will certainly help deal with Sumiko. I mean, he can equal her conflicts. Actually, have as first player, he can equal her conflicts. They can both be in 3. No, Katsuki Investigator. Oh, and Neat Master comes out. So certainly, Latours is feeling the pressure right now, and doesn't want to think about investing for the future, which makes sense. I mean, boards are going away pretty on both sides. A lot of board. And actually, next turn, barring any reprieves, which maybe they're saving their let goes for, I would say Latours probably have the better board next turn. Yeah, I think so. Oh, sorry, that Sumiko was clouded, so she wasn't. Favor wasn't super important on Latours' side, but denying the favor was certainly important. We see a 5-4 bid. Yeah, Latours, I think, couldn't risk a 5 because he'd just lose in the air ring if his opponent bid 1. But yeah, 5-4. So they both, now, no dishonor. I don't think dishonor's on the card. It's a way to win this game, so they're both just going for the break, get as much ammo as they can. Oh, we certainly had a shootout here in terms of just provinces falling relatively rapidly. In turn 4, I mean, certainly Dragon could do it even faster, but turn 4, heading into each other's strongholds. It's an interesting matchup. I mean, a lot of times it is very volatile and quick like this, but I had one game in a tournament the other day, Dragon versus Dragon, and we played 6 rounds in the whole 60 minutes, and we broke 1 province each. I think maybe 2. Maybe my opponent broke another one in the last sort of round. With Sacred Sanctuary and all your whole province row being just bad news bears to hit. Takes you do a lot of passing for the first couple rounds, and then there's a lot of not bowing and defending, and that type of thing. So this can turn into a real defensive matchup too, because the boards are fairly sticky as well when you buy high fate characters. So okay, so Litor's got to think this over. I guess he's thinking about something in the draw step. Must be a cloud. See, how many reprieves has he played? Because he's played 2. So Litor's has played 2 reprieves, and he's bought both his characters with no fate. Said he's playing so he doesn't lose this round. He goes first next round, so it'd be an advantage for him. No reprieves on who played on Afrede's side, which is pretty big. But then again, no let goes. So I suspect we'll see some reprieve into let goes at the end of this round. Because certainly would like to keep Sumiko around, would like to keep that investigator around. Okay, so we pass in the draw step. Swordsmith goes fishing for something. Cloud would be good. Oh, find Katana. Okay. I wonder what his choices were. I mean, certainly when you're low on relatively, well, he's not that low on the fate. He can pick something off a rank and F4, so. Let's see. Water. He's going to defend with everything probably, so water's not a big deal. Fire could be. Yeah, fire's pretty good. Dishonor the Neat Master, which would really hamper him in all the conflicts he wants to be in. So I think I would suspect fire. With Kudaka, airs all. Oh, we get a covert. Covert Sumiko as first player is very rough. 2 attacks with covert with his Sumiko. So I would imagine he's going to just go in Sumiko to pop rally. And then, but then he has to defend. Yeah, this will be, I think, a pretty interesting turn. Because he goes all in. And rally switches it. Because his military strength is really not that high compared to his political. So he takes Kudaka and Sumiko on a water ring. Oh, he's going to covert one of the no fake characters, which is pretty strong. Oh, he's taking Swordsmith as well. Well, at least he's going to force a pretty substantial defense. So I would imagine you're going to covert the Master because you don't want him to just sword up and be available. Yep. So that would say oh, he's all in. Okay, it's bold. I mean, certainly, yeah, I guess force is a pretty big defense. And Sumiko will be unbowed for the crackback. But like I said, there's no Cloud of the Minds have been played by Litor. So if there's more, but he's only got 1 fate. Okay, so he could play 1 Cloud on Sumiko. But if there's no let go to answer that, that would be pretty rough. That might be game ending right there. But like I said, he's been through 22 cards and played 1 let go. So, I mean, yeah, Cloud versus the second. We'll see what happens. It's pretty interesting. Oh, he's got the Investigator, but he's attacking. He's attacking political with Investigator, so he can strip any. Unless the Cloud is played right now, but he can strip some threatening cards. So we see Litor's do his own Investigator, so we can see what's in hand. So Afrede has an Ancient Master, can add a little bit of strength. 2 Ancient Masters, so pretty good chance to get in favor this turn if he wants it. He's got a Bonsai, so his next conflict could be dangerous, or his military defense. He's got a Censure, definitely good to have. He's got a Cloud the Mind himself, another one, his 3rd one. Court Games, he has no let go. Whew. So the Court Games gets discarded. So if there's a Cloud from Litor's onto this Sumiko, then the Neat Master can have probably 2 free shots. Oh, the Swordsmith he can Cloud. Yeah, the Neat Master could have 2 shots at the Stronghold if he wanted them. So I would oh, no. Court Games gets discarded, always winning. Trade boxes. Rally cause is still breaking. So I would imagine. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Alfred's Alfred's Katsuki investigator yet. A fan comes down because he could have like stripped off that fan, that sort of thing, and he has the fate to do it. Sure, he wants to save it for the Neat Masters and stuff, but in the reprieve, so he can't spend, definitely can't spend it all. But let's see what's going to happen here. So Ornate Fan comes down on Sumiko, and we have, it's not breaking. Oh, they traded fans on Sumiko, which is kind of funny. But certainly if there's no cloud, this, well, Sumiko will have to defend. So okay, I wonder if he's thinking about the Kensuke Investigator, or I think he's got to get a handle on this conflict, because if he just wins, and it's, oh, the Water Ring will bow the Neat Master, but he can just sword, you know, twice to get in those conflicts. And I mean, you can cloud yourself, but I mean, Alfrede could cloud, but again, there's no let goes have been played by litorers. You got to suspect it's there. I mean, maybe if there's one, you can get it out of his hand. So yeah, there's a cloud the mind comes down. So yeah, there must be something he wants to use this fate on, to not Kensuke Investigator first, I would imagine. Oh, he can't. Sorry. Ugh, I've been talking away, and Katsuki's clouded. Maybe I should zoom a little bit here to help myself. Sorry about that, guys. The Katsuki's clouded, so that, yeah, duh, he can't actually do it. Okay, so very close conflict, 8-13, 18-13. Let's see if Litor's got the let go for this. He didn't. Oh, he didn't have the cloud for Sumiko. So Sumiko, I mean, ooh, Sumiko is can get a military attack here. And we know this bonsai. Oh, good game. Litor's didn't have the cloud and doesn't have the let go for Neat Master to have some defense. And there we have it. I gotta ask. Yeah, I just quick chatting with the players. He says, Litor says he saw zero let goes. Okay, so let's looks like Afrede's going to move on to the finals of this double elimination tournament. So on the other side of the bracket, there's Sammy Yan and versus Nivik, to see who's going to play Alfrede. It's Sammy Yan's playing Crane, and Nivik is playing Scorpion. Very good player, very good deck. He trounced me out. He trounced me out of the loser side bracket. Nivik did. So that should be a really fun finals. We'll be streaming that one as well, and hopefully we can actually stream the losers finals to see if Crane or Scorpion move on. Yep, and Latorz is saying he's got everything. So, yep. Okay. Thanks to both players for a good game, and thanks to everyone who's watching. Like I said, we're going to bring a few more of these games. I still have a post-game commentary one to throw up, so hopefully get some pretty good coverage on this tournament, and hopefully everyone else's national tournaments are as much fun and going as well. Okay.